Steve McMichael, the Hall of Fame defensive tackle who was one of the beloved leaders and most colorful characters of the 1985 Chicago Bears, died Wednesday after a lengthy battle with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. He was 67. In the world of football, there are stars, and then there are forces of nature. Steve McMichael, also known as Mongo, was both. Ferocious on the field, theatrical off it, and unbreakable in spirit, he became a legend in more ways than one. This is the story of the Iron Man of the Chicago Bears, who fought until the very end. Steve McMichael was born on October 17, 1957, in Houston, Texas. Life threw him its first curveball early. His parents divorced when he was just a year old. Raised by his mother, Betty Ruth Smalley, a dedicated English teacher, and later adopted by his stepfather, oil executive E.V. McMichael, Steve grew up with discipline, heart, and a burning competitive drive. In 1964, the family moved to Freer, a small town in South Texas. There, Steve became a multi-sport phenom. At Freer High School, he lettered in football, basketball, baseball, tennis, golf, and track. Yes, all six. He wasn't just good. He was exceptional. McMichael went on to play college football at the University of Texas, where his raw strength and high motor turned him into an All-American in 1979. That same determination earned him a place in the College Football Hall of Fame in 2010. The New England Patriots drafted McMichael in the third round of the 1980 NFL Draft. But his time in New England was short-lived. He once joked that he was cut because the team considered him the criminal element in the league. But that release was the best thing that could have happened. Because in 1981, McMichael landed where he truly belonged, with the Chicago Bears. And Chicago embraced him immediately. The team's founder, George Halas, told him bluntly, "I've heard what kind of dirty rat you are in practice. Don't change, Steve." And he didn't. In fact, he only got meaner on the field. McMichael anchored what is widely considered the most predatory defense in NFL history, the 1985 Bears. Known for the brutal 46 defense, orchestrated by the legendary Buddy Ryan, the Bears simply terrorized opponents. With 8 defensive players stacked near the line of scrimmage, they overwhelmed teams week after week. They lost only once that entire season. And one game stood out, a 44-0 demolition of the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. That game, McMichael added another sack to his growing tally, part of a career total of 92.5 sacks, second only to Richard Dent in Bears franchise history. That season ended with a dominant 46-10 win over the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 20. The Bears were champions, and Mongo was forever etched into football lore. Though considered undersized at 6'2" and 270 pounds, McMichael's quickness and strength made him a nightmare matchup. He was one of the best interior pass rushers the league has ever seen. He recorded 10 or more sacks in 1984, 1988, and 1992. He was named a first-team All-Pro in 1985 and 1987, and earned Pro Bowl honors in 1986 and 1987. Perhaps most impressively, McMichael played 191 consecutive regular season games for the Bears. Still a franchise record for any defensive or offensive player. He added 12 playoff appearances on top of that. Teammates said he endured double teams, triple teams, and every dirty trick in the book, and still showed up every Sunday. As his longtime teammate Dan Hampton put it, to then essentially defy the physical reality of it is mind-boggling. Off the field, McMichael was something else entirely. He reveled in his larger-than-life personality. His nickname, Mongo, came from the brawny character in Blazing Saddles who famously knocks out a horse. He also went by Ming the Merciless, drawing from the Flash Gordon villain, because, well, it fit. He was loud, hilarious, and wildly unpredictable. In 1995, after retiring from the NFL, he joined World Championship Wrestling, WCW. First as a commentator, then as an in-ring performer. His signature move, the Mongo Spike, pile driver. It was like watching him sack quarterbacks, but with a twist of wrestling flair. He even ran for mayor of Romeoville, Illinois, in 2013, capturing 39% of the vote. That's right. Mongo almost became Mayor Mongo. And in 2001, true to form, He was ejected from Wrigley Field after trash-talking an umpire over the PA system right before singing, "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Steve McMichael never missed a moment to entertain. In 2020, McMichael began experiencing tingling in his arms. A year later, he was diagnosed with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. It was a cruel twist of fate for someone so physically indestructible. Yet, in typical Mongo fashion, he greeted the news with grit and humor. He described ALS as something that would sneak up on you, like a cheap-shotting Green Bay Packer. Over the next few years, his condition worsened. He lost the ability to move, to speak, but not once did he lose his courage. At Soldier Field in 2021, he received the first ALS Courage Award, an emotional moment shared with his wife Misty, both wearing black shirts, Me Mongo and Mrs. Mongo. On August 3, 2024, McMichael was officially enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He was too ill to attend the ceremony in Canton, but he didn't miss the honor. The Hall of Fame brought it to him, presenting his gold jacket and bronze bust at his bedside in Homer Glen, Illinois, with former teammates by his side. It was Richard Dent, his longtime teammate and fellow Hall of Famer, who had the honor of telling Steve he made it in. By then, McMichael could no longer speak, but his eyes said everything. Over 25 former NFL players have been diagnosed with ALS, including names like Steve Gleason, O.J. Brigance, and the late Kevin Turner. Steve McMichael's public fight brought even more attention to the brutal reality of the disease, and his wife Misty became a rock for the ALS community. On September 18, 2021, at Soldier Field, surrounded by loved ones and fellow legends, McMichael stood as a symbol, not just of what it means to be a bear, but what it means to be a fighter. He passed away on April 24, 2025, in Joliet, Illinois, at age 67, in hospice care. His passing marked the end of a life lived with wild intensity, unwavering loyalty, and a heart as big as Soldier Field. He's survived by his wife Misty, daughter Macy, 2 sisters, a brother, and thousands of fans who will never forget what he gave to the game, or to life. Bears chairman George McCaskey said it best. "It's a cruel irony that the Bears Ironman succumbed to this dreaded disease. Yet Steve showed us throughout his struggle that his real strength was internal, and he demonstrated on a daily basis his class, his dignity, and his humanity." Jim Porter, president of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, echoed that sentiment. Everyone who played with or against Steve shares the same opinion. No one battled longer or harder from the snap until the whistle than Steve the player. And the love his teammates showed him throughout this difficult journey says everything about Steve the man. Steve McMichael's life was proof that toughness isn't just measured in sacks or tackles. It's measured in heart, in loyalty, in how hard you fight when the odds are stacked against you. If you were moved by Steve McMichael's story, his fight, his fire, his legacy, help us honor him by keeping his memory alive. Hit like if you believe in fighting the good fight. Subscribe for more powerful stories of sports legends and unforgettable icons. And don't forget to turn on the bell for updates. We've got more stories coming your way. Thanks for watching. Rest in peace, Mongo. You'll always be a champion.